After Julius Caesar's assassination, Rome fell into a civil war. A civil war is a war fought between two sides in the same country. Caesar was assassinated because his opponents believed that he had gained too much power and was becoming a king rather than the leader of a republic. The point of the assassination was to save the republic. However, you will see in this lesson that the plan backfired, and after the Civil War, within 20 years, the republic had officially ended and Rome was being ruled by an emperor. The first part of the Civil War was fought between Brutus and Cassius on one side, and Mark Antony, Octavian, and Marcus Lepidus on the other. Brutus and Cassius were the leaders of the plot to assassinate Julius Caesar and were fighting to save the republic. Mark Antony, Octavian, and Marcus Lepidus were supporters of Caesar and were fighting to continue Caesar's legacy. They wanted more power for themselves. Brutus and Cassius eventually lost the war and committed suicide. After defeating Brutus and Cassius, Octavian, Mark Antony, and Lepidus formed a triumvirate to rule Rome. A triumvirate is when power is shared among three different leaders. So in this case, Octavian ruled most of Western Europe, Mark Antony ruled the eastern part of the empire all the way out towards Mesopotamia, and Lepidus ruled North Africa. Italy was declared neutral ground. However, this situation did not last long. Soon, Mark Antony and Octavian were at war with each other because they wanted to be the sole ruler of the empire. So let's look at the major players in this war. First, we have Octavian, whose official name was Gaius Octavius. He was actually the great-nephew of Julius Caesar, and Caesar basically raised him and mentored him so that he could be his successor eventually. So after Julius Caesar's death, Octavian felt that he was the rightful ruler of the Roman Empire. Mark Antony also had a close relationship with Julius Caesar. He was in Caesar's military and fought with him in Gaul and Germania, and he eventually rose to the rank of general. When Caesar took control of Rome, Mark Antony became his second in command, and Caesar trusted him enough that he sometimes left him in charge of Rome when he was away fighting wars. After Caesar's assassination, Mark Antony moved to Egypt and became allies with Cleopatra, who was pharaoh of Egypt. This was not Cleopatra's first interaction with the Roman Empire. She actually had a relationship with Julius Caesar before he died, and the two of them had a son together. Now, after Caesar's assassination, Antony and Cleopatra got married. Some historians say that Antony was really in love with her, but most agree that this was a marriage of convenience. Antony wanted the wealth that the Egyptian civilization had to offer. Cleopatra had tons of gold and other riches that he could use to fight Octavian in the Civil War. And Cleopatra wanted power. She knew that if Antony won the Civil War, right, he would be emperor of Rome, and she wanted the power of the Roman army to protect Egypt, and she wanted to be involved in all of that power. So as I already mentioned, war broke out between Mark Antony and Octavian for the control of Rome. They both wanted to be the sole ruler. In the final battle of this war, known as the Battle of Actium, Octavian completely destroyed Antony and Cleopatra's navy, although Antony and Cleopatra were able to escape back to Egypt. After his victory at the Battle of Actium, Octavian took Antony and Cleopatra prisoner. They both knew that Octavian was going to parade them through Rome as his prisoners to show off his major victory in this war, and neither of them were able to stand the thought of that humiliation. So while they were being held as prisoners, they both committed suicide. This officially left Octavian as the sole ruler of the Roman Empire. After his victory in the Civil War in 27 BC, the Senate gave Octavian the title of Augustus, which means revered or venerated one. This made Augustus the first emperor of Rome and officially ended the Republic.